In the courtroom of God, Paul now winds up his dramatic prosecution of God's case against the human race in Romans 1:18 to 3:20. He has shown that the problem of sin afflicts the worst case of humanity, the good case of humanity, and the best case of humanity. So he gives his devastating closing arguments in Romans 3:9 through 20. Quote, "What then? Are we better than they? Not at all. For we have already charged that both Jews and Greeks are all under sin. Just as it is written, there is none righteous, not even one." Paul's basic conclusion boils down to 3 words: all under sin. Sin is that terrible self-will that makes each one of us want to go our own way and do our own thing apart from God. Sin is when we tell God, I don't need you and I don't want you in my life. Sin is man's great problem ever since the Garden of Eden. And Paul clearly says every single one of us is under the dire influence of sin. Now, to prove his point, Paul argues like a rabbi, quoting verse after verse from the Hebrew Scriptures to form what the rabbis called, quote, a string of pearls. The pearls are in 2 colors. Now, the first set of pearls is arranged on the theme of there is none righteous, not even one. All have turned aside. Together they have become useless. There is none who does good, not even one. Now, the second set of pearls is arranged to show how sin so deeply infects us that it's like a disease we have from our heads to our feet. Paul quotes verses that say, their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they keep deceiving. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. The path of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Paul concludes by saying that all humanity is under the condemnation of sin, with no argument or appeal left. Quote, that every mouth may be closed, and all the world may become accountable to God. Because by the works of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight. For through the law comes the knowledge of sin. The final word in his argument is the final problem of humanity: sin. We are guilty as charged. There is only one thing to do in the courtroom of God: throw ourselves on the mercy of the court, face down before God's judgment seat, exposed in our sin. Who will save us?